I'm Michael Stoller. Welcome to my blueprint, Struggle Towards Emotional Sobriety, the podcast. I believe two of the most valuable and powerful words you can say to yourself today are kind and gentle. Finding ways to be nicer, more compassionate, and more loving towards yourself rather than cruel and self-deprecating. Listen in as I share my truth, reveal secrets, be vulnerable, and allow you into my world. I hope you find my sharing of myself beneficial wherever you are in your life today. This is it, podcast number 100. I spent more time thinking and preparing for this podcast than any other of my 99 podcasts. Who I am today is just not the same man I was back in April of this year. Whilst I have spent many hours thinking and preparing of how to conclude this podcast, this will be my shortest podcast. I thought I would share with you just a few of my favorite things. My favorite feeling, gratitude. My favorite mental illness, depression, anxiety, and bipolar. For without them, I would not be the man I am today. My favorite poem, The Invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or you have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it. I want to know if you could be with joy, mine or your own. If you could dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another, to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it is not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fails. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. My favorite prayer, the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. I'm Michael Stoller. Goodbye to my blueprint, Struggle Towards Emotional Sobriety, the podcast. I still believe two of the most valuable and powerful words you can say to yourself every day are kind and gentle. Finding ways to be nicer, more compassionate, and more loving towards yourself rather than cruel and self-deprecating. Thanks for listening in as I shared my truth, revealed secrets, was vulnerable, and allowed you into my world. I hope you found my sharing of myself beneficial wherever you are in your journey today.